Dear students, hello and welcome. I welcome you to the online course that is Psychology of Individual Differences, and our topic for today's lecture is Creative Problem Solving. The objectives include to understand the nature of creativity, to know about creative problem solving, to be aware about the principles of creative problem solving, to understand the stages of creative problem solving, and to understand the importance of creative problem solving. Dear students, let us first understand what creativity is. Students, creativity refers to a process involving the generation of new ideas or concepts, solutions, and possibilities. It consists of the ability to produce or develop original work, theories, techniques, or thoughts. It is manifested in the production of a creative work, for example, a new work of art that is both novel and useful. J.P. Guilford, the American psychologist, in Encyclopedia of Education says creativity is characterized by newness, fluency, and flexibility. E.P. Torrance beautifully remarked, creativity is a process of becoming sensitive to problems, gaps in knowledge, missing elements, and so on, identifying the difficulty, searching for solutions, making guesses or formulating hypotheses about the deficiencies, testing and retesting these hypotheses, and possibly modifying and retesting, and finally communicating the results. Creativity refers to seeing or expressing new relationships. As a matter of fact, a creative individual typically displays originality, imagination, and expressiveness. Although creativity is often associated with the arts, it can be found in every area of our life. It is possible in thinking, in modes of social interaction, or in studying or working. Creativity, in fact, is important for the progress of any nation, and the progress of the nation depends on the extent of development of creativity among its citizens. Needless to say that a creative individual will not only deal with situations effectively, adapt successfully, and function well in different contexts, but also contribute to the society in significant and productive ways. Among different creative techniques, problem solving technique is one of the techniques that helps individuals to overcome challenges and find solutions to unconventional problems. This technique begins with two assumptions. First, it is everyone is creative in some way. Second, creative skills can be learned and enhanced. Students, creativity is not confined to fine art, literature, performing arts, music, and similar artistic domains, but also occurs in fields such as business, manufacturing, technology, medicine, administration, education, and even defense. Its products include tangible objects such as artwork, books, or music, as well as buildings, machines, or devices, but go beyond these to encompass ideas, processes, services, or systems of operation, production, and delivery. Creativity involves doing things in ways that are, on the one hand, novel and on the other, effective in achieving a desired result. Now, students, nature of creative problem solving. Faikni Alex Osborne and Sid Parney developed creative problem solving in the 1940s. Creative problem solving is a technique of using your creativity to develop new ideas and solutions to problems. It encourages people to find fresh perspectives, come up with innovative solutions, overcome obstacles, and reach goals. Creative problem solving starts with divergent thinking, which refers to the process of generating lots of potential solutions and possibilities, otherwise known as brainstorming, and ends with convergent thinking, which involves evaluating those options and choosing the most promising one. We use a combination of both divergent and convergent thinking in order to develop new ideas or solutions. Creative problem solving, in fact, isn't just brainstorming, rather, it is a well defined process that can help one from problem definition to implementing solutions. Dear students, creative productions are the result of systematically trying to solve a specific problem or to achieve a particular goal. Albert Einstein, Leonardo da Vinci, Thomas Edison, and other creative geniuses have always used a systematic problem solving approach in order to produce scientific breakthroughs and cultural advancement. Thomas Alva Edison conducted experiment after experiment before inventing electricity, the light bulb, and telecommunication. Albert Einstein's theories of relativity were the result of the same creative problem solving approach. Creative problem solving refers to the process of involving breaking down a problem to understand it, generating ideas to solve the problem, and finally evaluating those ideas to find the most effective solutions. Highly creative people tend to follow this process of creative problem solving. Now, students, the core principles of creative problem solving. Creative problem solving involves 4 core principles. These principles help one generate as many ideas as possible, develop creative thinking skills, and therefore help to make the process a success. These principles include: first, it is balance divergent and convergent thinking. Second, reframe problems as questions. Third, suspend judgment. Fourth one, it is focus on positive language. Now, students, let us understand the first principle, and it is balance divergent and convergent thinking. Alex Osborne asserted that there are 2 distinct kinds of thinking that are essential to being creative, namely divergent thinking and convergent thinking. In other words, creative problem solving strategy uses 2 primary tools to find solutions, that is, divergence and convergence. Brainstorming is considered as the divergent thinking phase of the creative problem solving process. Brainstorming, as a matter of fact, refers to generating lots of ideas. Divergence allows us to move beyond obvious ideas to break through ideas. Convergent thinking, on the other hand, applies criteria to brainstormed ideas so that those ideas can become actionable innovations. Hence, divergence generates new and novel ideas, and convergence tools help us screen, select, evaluate, and refine these ideas. Terming it differently, divergence generates ideas in response to a problem, while convergence narrows them down to a short list. So, there is the dire need to balance these two practices and turn ideas into concrete solutions. Creative thinking skills are to be used appropriately. The phase of generating ideas is followed by using an analytical approach, which encourages to discover the most common solution to a problem. Hence, these strategies are frequently used together to produce new creative solutions. The focus is on creating at the first stage, that is divergent stage, and then evaluating at the second stage, that is convergent stage. Now, it is the second stage, that is reframe problems as questions. Rephrasing challenges and problems into open-ended questions is very essential in creative problem solving. In fact, when we rephrase problems and challenges as open-ended questions with multiple possibilities, it becomes easier to come up with solutions. Asking such types of questions generates lots of rich information. Quite contrary to it, asking closed type questions tends to elicit short answers such as confirmations or disagreements. Problem statements just tend to generate limited responses or no response at all. When we frame problems as questions, we shift from focusing on obstacles to solutions. This, in fact, provides the freedom to brainstorm potential and useful ideas. So, better ask problems as questions. Suspend judgment. Making immediate judgments interfere with the idea generation process. Judgments too early in the process can make it harder for participants to generate further ideas. So, it is better to avoid making judgments when we are in brainstorming stage. Sometimes, ideas that seem unconvincing earlier can turn into outstanding innovations upon further exploration and development. According to Alex Osborne, judging solutions early tends to shut down idea generation. William Black beautifully says, "What is now proved was once only imagined." For Osborne, there is an appropriate and necessary time to judge ideas, and it is during the convergence stage. So, it is better to defer or suspend judgment of ideas. Now, students, it is focus on positive language. Language, as a matter of fact, matters when we are generating information and ideas. So, we must use positive language to build and maintain an environment that fosters the development of creative and innovative ideas. Making use of the phrases like yes and encourages people to elaborate and think of more ideas. It encourages people to expand their thoughts, which is necessary during certain stages of creative problem solving. Instead of it, language like no, but such phrases have the opposite effect. Use of negative words like no discourages creative thinking. So focus on the phrases that is yes and instead of no but, as it reinforces conversation. Now, steps of the creative problem solving technique. Students, there are 5 steps involved in the creative problem solving technique to generate innovative ideas and solutions. These steps provide a problem solving style that works. Several steps or stages have been interpreted and recommended by various practitioners in the creative problem solving process. Creative Education Foundation, set up by Alex Osborne, outlines the following stages. First, it is explore the vision. Next, gather data. Third one, formulate questions, or it is the stage of developing creative challenges. Fourth one, exploring of ideas. Fifth, to consolidate and evaluate ideas, or you may call it as to formulate solutions. Now, students, the first stage. The first step is to identify your goal or challenge. It is a stage of problem orientation. Here in this stage, we understand and diagnose the problem to know what the problem is the crucial first step in creative problem solving. It is to identify what the problem is and define it in clear terms. Defining your objective in exact terms can provide clarity and understanding. It provides direction for undertaking investigation. Asking questions about the problem helps a lot to define it better and to think about it in more detail. Now, there is the second step, that is to gather data. After identifying and understanding the problem, the next step is to collect the relevant information about it and develop a clear understanding of it. This step is to research the problem so that you understand it in greater detail. This stage includes understanding the challenge, exploring data, examining many sources of information from different points of view, and focusing on the most important and relevant information. It may include using a wide range of sources, including books, online resources, or feedback and opinions from professionals and experts. It will help in increased awareness of the specified issues and in generating solutions based on specific information. Now, there is the next step, that is to formulate questions, or it is to develop creative challenges. Students, after having complete awareness of the identified challenge or problem, the next step is to ask questions or to develop creative challenges that will generate solutions. It is the step to turn the problem or issue into a creative challenge. This means framing your questions to encourage ideas and suggestions. As a matter of fact, a creative challenge is basically a simple question framed to encourage suggestions or ideas. One thing is important, that the creative challenge should be simple, concise, and focused on a single issue. It is not desirable to include the evaluation criteria at this stage because it would limit creative thinking. So, testing of ideas against the evaluation criteria should be done after the ideas are generated. Now, the next step, that is to generate ideas or explore ideas. Students, this step refers to the divergent stage of creative problem solving. This is the stage where we have to generate ideas to answer the challenging questions that have been identified in the previous step. We have to consider every idea that comes to mind, even if the idea is stupid or fails to solve the challenge. Consider every idea regardless of how unconventional or unhelpful it is. While being in a group, ensure it that no one is critical of anyone else's ideas. Here, an open and accepting atmosphere helps us to encourage creativity. It is to come up with possible solutions or approaches. Exploring ideas refers to the process of brainstorming many possible solutions or approaches. It is to generate ideas using divergent thinking. Alex Osborne coined the term brainstorming to describe this step in the process. It is to come up with as many ideas as possible to potentially solve the challenge. The important thing is to move away from habitual thinking and consider ideas that are innovative and out of the box. Brainstorming and mind maps are considered as great ways to explore ideas during this divergent stage of creative problem solving. Now students, it is the third step, that is to consolidate and evaluate ideas, or you may call it as a stage of formulating solutions. This step refers to the convergent stage of creative problem solving. It refers to consolidating, combining and evaluating of ideas against the evaluation criteria. In it, we begin to focus on evaluating all of our possible options and come up with solutions. After generating many ideas through divergent thinking, we need to select the best of these and assess their potential value. This requires convergent thinking, and we purposefully apply appropriate criteria to screen, select, evaluate and refine the options. We go through all the ideas and select all the ideas that probably fit within our criteria. Consider, refine and improve novel and original ideas and select those that provide the solution or address our challenge. We analyze whether potential solutions meet our needs and criteria and decide whether we can implement them successfully. There might be an idea that is clearly the most appropriate solution for the problem which can be implemented. Now, there is the fourth step, and it is creating a plan of action or implementing the ideas. Students, implementing the ideas is the final stage of the process of creative problem solving. To implement refers to the step in which the solution to the problem is tested and evaluated. In this stage, plans are made for the implementation of the chosen solution. Possible difficulties are anticipated and resources are identified. So, after choosing the best solution, we proceed to develop a plan of action. Here, we identify the needed resources and actions that allow us to implement our chosen solution. Sometimes it happens that the ideas need more development. Here, we can go back, revive and rework the solution. Carrying out more in-depth discussions are needed to further develop and refine an idea. Dear students, the process of creative problem solving goes through well-defined stages. It involves a clear structure of identifying the problem, generating new ideas, evaluating the options, and then formulating a plan for successful implementation. The first step of the creative problem solving process is to clearly identify the problem, followed by the next, that is to gather data and formulate the challenge. Then it is to explore ideas and come up with solutions, and finally it is to develop a plan of action and make the solution a reality. Action plan acts as a guide helping to implement the accepted and developed idea. Benefits of creative problem solving. In order to deal with obstacles and overcoming challenges of our routine life, we need to encourage creative thinking and find innovative solutions. Creative problem solving strategy can help in finding solutions for difficult challenges. In fact, it encourages innovation and finding new perspectives which can lead to unique and unexpected solutions. It is essential in developing new innovations and generates sustainable ideas that can be successful in the long term. Thus, creative problem solving helps us overcome challenges and find solutions to unconventional problems. As a matter of fact, it is important for students to develop creative problem solving skills, which can enable them to confront and overcome complex, non-routine challenges with no immediately obvious solutions. Since all problems don't have straightforward solutions, children make use of their creative problem skills to tackle the problems they face. Creative problem solving, which requires thinking outside the box, can help children to find the solution for a problem in an academic setting or handle a situation in their personal lives. Creative problem solving is considered as an important part of the innovation mindset because it encourages children to use critical and creative thinking to develop innovative and original solutions. In fact, it prepares children to face both everyday problems and complex challenges with confidence. In a working environment or a business setting, it encourages collaboration between colleagues while increasing employee motivation, engagement, and self-development. It helps to create a culture of innovation and openness at workplaces. Creative problem solving is an innovative approach used by business places to come up with new and innovative products and ideas or to solve challenging problems they come across. Business professionals use it to find unique solutions to a problem by identifying and then suggesting several potential solutions. In fact, they can use this skill for various purposes, including product development, branding, or resolving workflow issues. Creative problem solving focuses on developing new perspectives and fostering creativity. Utilizing this approach can help individuals to grow. This skill obviously can help you effectively manage issues and provide solutions. Dear students, to sum up, we can say that creative problem solving technique is a technique of using your creativity to develop new ideas and solutions to problems. It involves approaching a problem in an imaginative, innovative, and unconventional way. It encourages people to redefine the problems, find fresh perspectives, come up with innovative responses and solutions, overcome obstacles, and reach to goals. Creative problem solving starts with divergent thinking, which refers to the process of generating lots of potential solutions and possibilities, otherwise known as brainstorming, and ends with convergent thinking, which involves evaluating those options and choosing the most promising and appropriate solution. Dear students, it was all for today. I am very much hopeful that you might have enjoyed the session. Thanks.